Chrisley knows best Nanny Faye mourns devastating loss. Chrisley knows best alum Nanny Faye is mourning a devastating loss. It has been hard enough for her to have her son, Todd Chrisley, behind bars. She also battled bladder cancer, so that was another struggle. Now the 78-year-old feisty grandma is dealing with a heartbreaking tragedy. So what happened? Keep reading for more details. Nanny Faye mourns devastating loss. Chrisley knows best had spunk thanks to Nanny Faye Chrisley. Being the matriarch of the family, she was witty, silly, and never took herself too seriously. More so, Faye had no problem setting any and everyone straight while trying new things. She was also incredibly sneaky, getting into trouble here, there, and everywhere, which is why she was such a fan favorite. The show lasted even after Todd and Julie Chrisley were sentenced to a collective 19 years behind bars. Todd was still shaking his head at his mother, but she never minded because she was living her best life. Sadly, she was diagnosed with bladder cancer in 2021. She had credited her daughter-in-law, Julie, with helping her during that difficult time. Fortunately, she is now in remission, which has been a blessing. She even spent the holidays with Todd in 2023 as she had gone to Florida to see friends. Therefore, she was not going to miss out on the tradition of seeing her son for Thanksgiving. Despite all that has gone on, she has kept her chin up, but now, Nanny Faye has suffered a tragic loss. It was shared that her sweet pup, Miley, had passed away. The sad news was shared on Reddit, and Chrisley knows best fans were immediately heartbroken. They had seen Nanny and Miley all over town, even at the local Walmart. She never shied away from a photo or a kind hello, and followers always noted that. Not only was Nanny Faye a gift, but so was Miley, with the OP writing this. My heart bleeds for Nanny Faye. Losing a pet is never ever easy. Chrisley knows best fans remember Miley. Fans of the show immediately remembered Miley, and they were broken for Nanny Faye. They know the love of a pet, but more so, how much Nanny and Miley adored one another. I'm so sorry to hear about sweet Miley. I met her once in Walmart, and she was precious. Condolences to Nanny Faye. Aw, I'm so sorry, Nanny. I pray that you can get some comfort soon. I know Miley was your sweet baby. Love you, Nanny. So sad. She's come a long way to being Grayson's puppy to Faye's baby. She loved that dog so much. This is so hard, but hopefully Nanny Faye takes comfort in knowing how many fans adored Miley. They had a very special relationship that was and is timeless. Nanny Faye Chrisley, the beloved matriarch of Chrisley Knows Best, had always been the heart and soul of the Chrisley family. With her fiery wit, no-nonsense approach to life, and a sense of humor that could bring a smile to anyone's face, she was the glue that held the often chaotic Chrisley clan together. But beneath the laughter and strong exterior, Nanny Faye was now facing one of the hardest chapters of her life. She was mourning a devastating loss. The Chrisleys had always been a close-knit family, bound by their love for one another despite their differences and the public spotlight. Todd Chrisley, her son and the head of the family, had faced his own share of challenges, legal battles, and public scrutiny, but Nanny Faye had always been his rock. She was the one he turned to for comfort and wisdom, even if he didn't always show it. Her unwavering support for her family was a testament to her resilience and deep love. But this time, it wasn't just a personal challenge or a family crisis that Nanny Faye was dealing with. It was the loss of someone who had been a constant in her life for decades. Her sister, Frances, had passed away unexpectedly, leaving a gaping hole in Nanny Faye's heart. Frances had been more than just a sister to Faye. She had been her best friend, her confidant, and her partner in crime. The two women had shared countless memories together, growing up in South Carolina, raising their children, and navigating the ups and downs of life. They had been through everything together, from the joyous moments of family milestones to the hardages of life's disappointments. And now, for the first time, Faye was facing the world without her. The news of Frances' passing hit Nanny Fay like a tidal wave. She had always been strong, but the pain of losing her sister was something she couldn't have prepared for. It was a sorrow that cut deeper than anything she had ever known. She had lost loved ones before, friends, other family members, but losing Frances felt like losing a part of herself. In the days that followed, the Chrisley family rallied around Nanny Fay, trying to provide her with the comfort and support she had always given them. Todd, his wife Julie, and their children were there to offer hugs, kind words, and distractions from the overwhelming grief. But as much as they tried, they knew that there were no words that could truly ease the pain of losing someone so close. Nanny Fay retreated into herself for a while, the spark in her eyes dimmed by the weight of her sorrow. She found herself reminiscing about the times she and Frances had spent together, the laughter they shared, the arguments that always ended in forgiveness, the quiet moments of understanding that only sisters could have. She thought about their childhood, running barefoot through the fields of their family's farm, and the way they had always looked out for each other. One afternoon, as Nanny Fay sat on the porch of her home, staring out at the garden that she and Frances had once tended to together, a flood of memories washed over her. The sound of the wind rustling through the trees reminded her of the days they spent picking flowers, laughing at how neither of them had much of a green thumb, but still loved the beauty of the blooms. The sight of the rocking chairs side by side on the porch was a painful reminder that Frances's chair would now remain empty. For Nanny Fay, the hardest part of losing Frances was the silence. Frances had been the person she called when she needed to vent, the one who could always make her laugh, even on her worst days. Without her, the world felt a little quieter, a little colder. The family did their best to keep Nanny Fay's spirits up. Savannah, her granddaughter, took her out shopping, knowing how much Nanny Fay loved a good bargain hunt. Chase, always the prankster, tried to lighten the mood with his antics, even though he knew that his grandmother's laughter wasn't as frequent as it once was. Todd and Julie made sure she was never alone, offering their support in any way they could. But still, the sadness lingered. One evening, as the family gathered for dinner, Nanny Fay finally broke her silence. With tears in her eyes, she shared stories about Frances, stories that made them all laugh and cry at the same time. She spoke about the time Frances had convinced her to sneak out of the house as teenagers, only for them to get caught by their mother. She reminisced about the holidays they spent together, the recipes they exchanged, and the times they would sit on the porch, just like they used to, talking about everything and nothing. Frances was my partner in crime, Nanny Fay said, her voice breaking. We've been through so much together, and now I don't know how to get through this without her. The family listened quietly, their hearts breaking for the woman who had always been their source of strength. They knew that there was nothing they could say to make the pain go away, but they were there for her, just as she had always been there for them. In the weeks that followed, Nanny Fay began to find solace in the memories of her sister. She started looking through old photo albums, finding comfort in the pictures of them together, their smiles frozen in time. She realized that while Frances was gone, the love and bond they shared would never truly disappear. It lived on in the stories, the memories, and the family they had built together. One day, as she sat on the porch, a soft breeze blew through the garden, and for the first time in a while, Nanny Fay felt a sense of peace. She knew that Frances was still with her, watching over her, and that one day they would be reunited. Until then, she would carry on, just as Frances would have wanted her to, strong, resilient, and always with a sense of humor. As Nanny Fay looked out at the world, She smiled through her tears, knowing that while life would never be the same, it would go on, and she would carry Frances with her every step of the way.